Do you want to call? You can go ahead and call to order. We do have a quorum.
Okay. So the June meeting of the Human Rights Commission is called to order. And Ms. Dominique, can you do a roll call?
Sure will. 1 second. Okay. Commissioner Amberman? Let me mute the mic. Commissioner Amberman? Thank you. Commissioner Hesseltine?
Here.
Thank you.
Here.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Amberman. Commissioner Callett?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Orencia?
Here.
Thank you. Vice Chair Jenkott?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Mancall?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Burnsworth?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Rivera?
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Stevens?
Here.
Thank you. Chair Nair Strickland?
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Stanley?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Cubine?
Here.
Thank you. Okay, and roll call is complete. Chair Nair Strickland?
David, did you call David?
I did call David, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. And recognizing that Deputy Chief Dean is here with us. Thank you, sir. I don't see any other liaisons. Okay.
Stacy is with us too.
Stacy, okay. And oh, there she is. I see. Thank you, Stacy, for joining us.
And yeah, and Rod still hasn't joined us yet.
Okay, that's okay. Did everyone get the minutes? And if so, I entertain a motion to approve.
Raise your virtual hand if you would like to. I see real hand by Commissioner Rivera. Commissioner Rivera, your mic is open.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone want a second motion to approve the minutes from the May 13th meeting? Please raise, okay, I have a virtual hand by Vice Chair Jenkott. Vice Chair Jenkott, your mic is open.
I second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any discussion, any opposition to approval of the minutes from the May 13th meeting? Please your virtual hand if you have any comments or opposition. Okay, with that, I'm going to do a roll call vote for approval of the minutes from the May 13th meeting. Commissioner Amberman?
Yes, approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Hesseltine?
Approved.
Thank you. Commissioner Callett? Commissioner Callett, are you still with us? Okay, I'll come back to him. Commissioner Orencia?
Approve.
Thank you. Vice Chair Jenkott?
Approved.
Thank you. Commissioner Mancall?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Burnsworth?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Rivera?
Approved.
Thank you. Commissioner Stevens?
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Nair Strickland?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Stanley?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Cubine?
Approve.
Thank you. And let's try this again. Commissioner Callett? Okay, I think we might have lost him because I cannot unmute him. Okay, well, with that, the motion to approve the minutes from the May 13th meeting were approved 11-0.
Thank you. And welcome, Attorney Roderick, as I call him, Sir Roderick. Sir Roderick has joined us. It is June and it's time for elections. And at this point, I'll just turn it over to the nominating committee chair, if that's okay.
Just one moment. Sorry, Chair Nair Strickland. We do have a caller, one of the citizens who are registered to attend has joined the meeting. Mr. Strabino?
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Just want to say welcome, and we have some other items to get to our agenda, but when we get to citizen remarks at the end, I will call on you and you can have your 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, back to you, Chair Strickland.
Yes, I was about to call on the nominating chair to conduct the elections, please, sir.
Commissioner Rencio, your mic is open.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Want to thank the members of the nominating committee, Joe Burnsworth and Luis Rivera. Rabbi Zimmerman did sit in on those meetings. He was not able to vote on any issues regarding, because he was running for chair. And special thanks to Dominique and also Rod as well. We met last week. I think everyone got the email on our proposed slate. Ginger Gencott for vice chair and Sylvia Neary Strickland for chair. And with that, I guess do we have floor nominations? Should we request that or ask for that, Ms. Dominique?
If you as committee chair would like to request that.
Just in case anyone wants to make a floor nomination for themselves or anyone else, just to be totally transparent. And then after that, I guess we make a motion to or approve that slate. Is that correct?
Okay, any virtual hands for nominations on the floor?
Okay.
Okay, I don't see any.
If there are no additional nominations, someone could move the election of the two nominees as requested by, as recommended by the nominating committee. But Dominique, am I missing a hand?
Yes, I just saw it myself. Commissioner Amberman, your mic is open. Oh. Commissioner Amberman?
Yes, I actually move to approve the recommendation of the nominating committee.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Amberman. Is there a second? Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Stevens, your mic is open.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Any discussion or opposition to the slate of officers as presented with Chair Nair Strickland, Vice Chair Ginger Gencott? Anyone? Any opposition or discussion? Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Burnsworth. Commissioner Burnsworth, your mic is open.
I don't want to belabor this, but what I do want to do is thank all of you who submitted your name for nomination. It was wonderful to have a full slate of qualified candidates, any of whom would in these positions would move our commission forward. So I just wanted to thank each of you, from someone on the nominating committee and also someone who has not and will not be putting their name in up for nomination in the future. But so for those of you who did, thank you for your service and thank you for your willingness to lead.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Burnsworth. Anyone else have any comments or oppositions to the slate of officers? Okay, I am not seeing any other virtual hands, so I'm going to go ahead and do a roll call vote for the slate of officers with Chair Sylvia Nair Strickland and Vice Chair Ginger Gencott. Commissioner Amberman?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Heseltine?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Callett?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Arencia?
Approve.
Thank you. Vice Chair Gencott?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Mancall?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Gunn?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Burnsworth?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Rivera?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Stevens?
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Nair Strickland?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Stanley?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Cubine?
Approve.
Thank you. And with that, a vote of 12 and 1 abstention, the slate of officers with Chair Sylvia Nair Strickland and Vice Chair Ginger Gencott was approved. Okay, back to you, Chair Nair Strickland.
Thank you, everyone. This will be my third and last year as chair, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much. I preach all the time. We're all equals and we're all commissioners, and we've worked hard to build teams, and so I'm really looking forward to, hopefully, now that we're organized, to go forward with some exciting and new work. Ginger, did you want to say anything?
Vice Chair
Okay.
Jankot, your mic is open.
Yeah, just thank you to everyone for all the hard work that you do, and I'm very proud to be a part of you, a part of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Jankot. Okay, back to you, Chair Strickland.
Thank you. And thank you, Jojo, for chairing this, and for everyone that served on the nominating committee. I know it's a difficult job, but thank you. Chairman's report. The first thing that we need to say is that this is our last virtual meeting that I know of for a monthly meeting. And Dominique sent out the rules for how we can join electronically. And so that I don't mess this up, since Rod is here, you can explain shortly what the rules will be, if you don't mind, please.
I'd be glad to. The Human Rights Commission was the first board or commission in the entire city to adopt a remote participation policy, and y'all did so in 2017. Since the COVID pandemic, many other boards and commissions, and even the city council, have joined in adopting the policy. The revision that you see is formatted differently than the original version. Dominique sent you the 2017 original. That was the first one I ever drafted. By the time we get around to 2021, I had refined things a little bit. And this format that you're seeing for the new version, that format is consistent among all city boards and commissions. So if the law changes again, by everybody using the same format, it will be easier to update these. So let me talk about the updates. It used to be, and it is right now, the policy provides that an individual member can participate remotely in an HRC meeting if we have a quorum of the HRC present in the meeting room. And an individual member can participate remotely for one of two reasons: for a medical reason, and currently that means that the member has a physical disability or other medical condition that prevents him or her from physically attending the meeting. If it's a medical reason, there is no limit on the number of times a member could participate remotely. If it's for any other reason, that's known as a personal reason. Currently, the limit on attending remotely for a personal reason is limited to 2 meetings per year. Effective July 1, the law will change. The state law that our policy is based on will change, and it becomes more permissive. With respect to medical conditions, it adds when a member needs to stay home to care for a family member's medical condition. They need to provide care for that family member, and because of that, they can't come to our meeting in person. That is also a medical reason for which a member could participate remotely an unlimited number of times. With respect to participation for any other reason, for a personal reason, for a work commitment, for a vacation, whatever it is, any reason other than that medical reason, the limitation is being increased from 2 per year to the greater of 2 per year or 25% of the meetings held per calendar year, rounded up to the next whole number. You are not required to adopt this new policy, but I recommend that you do so because it gives us greater flexibility, as I've just explained. I also would recommend that if you, HRC has a large number of committees. Committees may also adopt this revised policy once the HRC has adopted the policy. And if, for example, there are 12 HRC meetings and you're a member of a committee that meets a whole lot and the committee meets 20 times. Well, for HRC, you can participate remotely 25% of those 12 meetings, so up to 3. And for the subcommittee that meets 20 times a year, you could participate in 5 of those, if I'm doing the math right in my head. I just wanted to make the point that the HRC is a public body, each committee is a separate public body. So think of it that way when you're determining how many times you could participate remotely. But enough of my rambling on. Do y'all have any questions for me?
Anyone have any
Beatrice.
questions? Yep, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Ammerman. Commissioner Ammerman, your mic's open.
I just wanted Rod to clarify more about committee attendance, committee meetings attendance, just so that we can be more
Okay.
specific. Because that will actually makes us, decide how many committees we join and so forth.
That makes sense. I know it has been very convenient for committee meetings to be conducted virtually during the pandemic. And I wish the law was different, and I wish I could tell you that committee meetings can continue to meet virtually, but they can't unless we get a change in the law. And we see on the agenda that y'all are going to be asking for a change in the law. But in the meantime, if it's a committee meeting and the committee has 7 members, then we're going to need 4 members of the committee to meet, at least 4 members of the committee to meet in person, a quorum, which is half plus 1. And if we have 4 of those 7 committee members meeting in person at the city hall location or at whatever the meeting location is, if 1 or 2 additional members wanted to participate electronically, and that could be by telephone, or if staff can make it happen by WebEx, then the member could participate remotely. But it doesn't work if we don't have a quorum of that committee physically assembled. And indeed, if we have a scenario where it's a 7-member committee and we only have 3 people show up to the meeting place, not going to be able to allow the people who wanted to participate virtually to do so, because you have to have a quorum of the body present. Did that help?
Commissioner Ammerman?
I
I
yes,
saw her
thank you, Rod.
shake her head.
Much appreciation.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Ammerman. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Stanley. Commissioner Stanley, your mic is open.
Yeah, I'm really glad for the clarity, Rod, because I did not understand that subcommittee work required quorum attendance. So, I'm a little bit surprised. So I had to kind of, and our structure is different now, since we've been working on making that a little more formalized. So I do think that this presents something for quite a few of us to think about, especially for those of us who've been trying our darndest to participate in as many subcommittee opportunities as possible. So I just want to kind of go on record stating that, I thought committee participation was a little bit more, less quorum oriented. So just want to make that comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley.
And I guess I'd like to ask, are there other commissioners that also may have been questioning that understanding? Have we all been participating knowing that? I don't know.
I welcome this discussion in this recorded meeting that will be posted online, but I would prefer that we not get into specifics about whether something wasn't done exactly right in the past. We just want to do it right going forward. But I hear what you're saying, Commissioner Stanley. I think there were some misperceptions, and hopefully we're going to clear those up today.
Okay, and I respect that, and just want to make sure that as we put our structure together, maybe we be thinking about, official committees of the commission versus, some of the other work. Thank you.
I think that's right. And I think what this also suggests is for most of our committees, we know who the committee members are. But for some of the committees, at least from my perspective, we have members, and then we have committee members, and then we also have members of the HRC who happen to show up or virtually attend. We need to know who the members are so we can figure out what the quorum is, and staff can prepare appropriately.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley. Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Chair Nair Strickland. Your mic is open.
Oh, thank you. Gee, I was so interested, I forgot my question. Oh, some of our, committees have, non-commissioner members, especially like the Mental Health Task Force have a lot of members. But what I think I hear you saying is we have to have a, forum of commissioners at those
You-
committee meetings.
Actually, I'm very glad that you asked that question. It's, and I know this is complicated, but if we have a subcommittee that has 10 members and 7 of them are HRC members and the other 3 are not HRC members, but they're members of the committee, then I just need 6 committee members present. And it's okay if 3 of them are not HRC members. As I noted before, you look at each committee as if it's a brand new separate public body.
Okay, thank you, Chair Nair Strickland. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Burnsworth. Commissioner Burnsworth, your mic is open.
Thank you, Rod. I think you kind of answered my question, but just for clarity, Sylvia has been really good about opening committees up to anybody who wants to attend. But the quorum is only those who are officially listed as committee members, correct?
Correct.
So we all need that list of official committee members so that we know if we have a quorum or not.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Let me also mention these rules about having the quorum present and members only being able to participate if the quorum is present, and the limitation on the numbers that they can do for personal reasons. These limitations apply to the members of the HRC and it applies to the members of the committees. It doesn't apply to your guest speakers. It doesn't apply to staff. It doesn't apply to others, to the council liaisons. So if any of those people wanted to participate remotely, either by telephone or by video conferencing, there's no limitation on them. The strict requirements apply to the actual members of the HRC or the committees.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Burnsworth. Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Hasseltine. Commissioner Hasseltine, your mic is open.
Hi, thank you. Rod, I think I heard this correctly, but so whatever committees you're on, which I guess you're right. I agree with Commissioner Stanley. I'm going to have to look at what ones I'm on and figure out now which ones I'm going to get off of. But this 2 per year for personal, that's not cumulative. That's not for committees and these HRC meetings, correct?
It's all separate. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. Okay, thank you so much.
And just as a reminder, with the new law, it's for personal reasons, it'll be 25% or 2.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Rod.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Hasseltine. Okay, I have a virtual hand by Commissioner Callett. Commissioner Callett, your mic is open.
Hi, yes, thanks. So I understand the ones when we have meetings in person, the amount we have to attend. Is there a rule saying that we have to actually have our meetings in person, or can we do a majority of our committee meetings virtual, since some of us are on, other stuff outside of this board, having multiple meetings each month starts to add up in person?
I really wish I could give you the answer you want, but I can't. If 3 or more members of the HRC are discussing HRC business, that is a meeting and the public has to be able to attend and watch and listen to you while you're talking about it. With respect to the committees, it's the same rule. We cannot do committee meetings virtually. We can't have more than 2 committee members talking about committee business. The caveat is if it's a 3-person committee, then you just can't do, any meeting has to be in public because you have to have a quorum present, and anytime 3 members of the HRC or 3 members of a committee, or if there are less than 4 members, a majority of the committee, It has to be a public meeting. We have to give public notice 3 days in advance. We have to allow the public to attend and all those other things.
So the public attending can't be, here's our Zoom link, hop on.
Virtual meetings will not be allowed after July 1 at all. There will be no more virtual meetings of city boards and commissions after July 1st unless the governor does something extraordinary and unexpected. All signs
Okay.
point to the governor ending the state of emergency at the end of this month. And I should have explained this at the beginning. The HRC's ability to meet virtually is predicated on the continuance of the governor's state of emergency. And it looks like that's going to end June 30th. And because of that, that's why we believe that the HRC and all the other boards and commissions will no longer be able to meet virtually come July 1.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Callett. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Amberman. Commissioner Amberman, your mic is open.
Yes, thank you so much, Rod, for the very good explanations. And I'm just going to request that this topic is included at our retreat, because I think it is extremely important, not only to understand that, but actually attendance as well for the committees that we actually agree to serve under. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Amberman. Commissioner Callett, I see your virtual hand is still up. Did you have more to add?
No, just forgot to put it down.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Callett. Okay, Chair Nair Strickland, see your virtual hand is up.
Yes, thank you. The one, I sent an email that everyone saw, and I do have the question. Is there any hope that the governor, or do you know of any rumored statements that might say that he'll end it, but with a caveat of possibly meeting? Certainly, we're not the only city that has been spoiled and likes meeting virtually.
I've not heard anything that gives me much encouragement on that, and I don't personally have contacts with the governor. I will note that when the governor's office sent out the press release saying, I'm lifting the mask mandate, I'm lifting all of these mandates, he said, I'm going to keep the declaration of emergency at least through the end of June, in part in order to assist local governments with their meetings of boards and commissions. So he's aware of the issue, but I'm not seeing any signs that that he's going to want to extend that state of emergency. There are other things, there are other implications of a state of emergency. Not just the ability of boards and commissions to meet virtually, and it appears that all signs are pointing to that state of emergency ending this month.
Okay, thank you. Just that he's aware of it is encouraging. Does anybody else have any comments or questions about our meetings?
If not, if I may, I apologize.
Yes.
Usually I tell you, you can just vote on something, but this one I need the motion to be a little bit specific. I mentioned that a new law comes into effect on July 1. Because of that, I would prefer that the motion not just be that we adopt the revised policy. I would prefer that the motion be that we adopt the revised policy effective July 1, 2021.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to do what he just said.
Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Vice Chair Gencott. Vice Chair Gencott, your mic is open.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm curious, if it is a mandate, why do we have to vote it in?
Oh, good question. The Freedom of Information Act allows boards and commissions to adopt a remote participation policy if they want their members to be able to participate remotely, but you don't have to adopt a policy. If you don't adopt a policy, then no member can participate remotely. It's enabling legislation. If a locality wants to have the remote participation ability, they may adopt a policy, but the policy has to be consistent with the state law.
Got it.
Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Chair Nash Strickland. Your mic is open.
As as I was looking at Deputy Dean, okay, so we have like 49,000 liaisons. In what capacity do they count in remote? And
They are, I mentioned that staff and guest speakers can participate remotely. They're not subject to these restrictions. So all the liaisons could participate remotely if needed. It's just the members of the HRC and the members of the committees.
okay, so do we have a motion to adopt in the words that Attorney Ingram has given us?
Anyone want to make a motion to adopt the remote participation policy effective July 1? I have a real hand up by, I see a real hand up by Commissioner Rivera. Commissioner Rivera, your mic is open.
Yes, I'd like to propose the wording that our attorney provided as the motion.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Rivera. Do I have a second to adopt the remote participation policy effective July 1? Okay, I have a virtual hand up. I got three virtual hand up by Commissioner Heseltine.
I'm sorry, I second the motion.
Okay, any discussion on the motion on table to adopt the revised remote participation policy effective July 1st, 2021? Okay, I don't see any virtual hands up, so I'm going to go ahead and do a roll call vote for adopting the revised remote participation policy effective July 1st, 2021. Okay, Commissioner Amberman?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Heseltine?
Approved.
Thank you. Commissioner Catlett?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Rencia?
Approve.
Thank you. Vice Chair Jenkins?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Manco?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Gunn?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Burnsworth?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Rivera?
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Stevens?
Approve.
Thank you. Chair Nair Strickland?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Stanley?
Approved.
Thank you. And Commissioner Cubine?
Approve.
Thank you. Okay, with that, the motion to adopt the revised remote participation policy effective July 1st, 2021 has been approved. 13-0.
Great. Thank you, Rod. And this is a great segue into the next subject, which is next month's meeting, which is going to be our retreat. And I think Dominique may know more than I about that, about the time and the place.
Right. It's at STIR. Aurelius will be the facilitator of that meeting. Now, I've been told that previously the retreat has been 3 hours long, as opposed to 2. Is that correct?
Well, they've been all day or they've been a couple days, and the shortest we've had is 3 hours.
Okay. All right. So I guess if the commission wants, the first one can be the 3 hours, and then if additional day is needed, a decision can be made on that during the retreat, because that's what we did last year. We had the first day, and then at the end of that, it was decided to have a second day, and so on and so forth.
So this would be July
8th.
Did you say 3 o'clock?
If everyone's good with it being a 3 hour meeting, I can book it for 3 o'clock. I have a virtual hand up by Vice Chair Jenkins. Vice Chair Jenkins, your mic is open.
Thank you. I thought it might be helpful before we commit to a time to talk about what it is that we need to do and what we do annually, so that we know what the workload is and how much time we need to do that. I can start and then anyone else can fill in what I skipped. One of the things that we do is go over our annual work plan and take a look at what we've accomplished to date from what we said we were going to do last year. I always say last year with parentheses around it. But we were busy. And we also talk about the plans then for the next year, the upcoming year. We take a look at the committees that we have, committee participation, and anyone else want to fill in the rest? Sylvia, anyone else of things that we need to do?
I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Stanley. Commissioner Stanley, your mic is open.
Oh, and my apologies, Commissioner Janko, because I was just trying to get that clarity earlier. I was also making sure I had the date, which I heard as July 8th. And it has to be at least 3 hours. I just wanted to make sure people were aware who are part of our, and I'm not quite sure what we're still calling it, but the Pastor Leader Community Police Relations Table follows that. And so it would be a packed schedule for those of us doing that. So I just wanted to make that clear, and then give the floor back to you. I'm so sorry. I had my hand up before you started talking.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley.
I guess we need to, one of the things that I think a few of you have expressed to me is that we haven't gotten to know each other. So I am going to meet with Aurelius, and we want to do some team building as well as some going over our work plans and structure. And I'm sure there'll be some changes to the structure and the work plan, but the team building part of it, I think it's important, and I think many of you have asked for it. So in order to get all that in, I think we need 3 hours. I guess the best thing is to ask, does anyone object to trying to plan a 3-hour first meeting? I know it's tough for you, Teresa, but
Commissioner Stanley, did you have a response?
Just to respond back, Chair Neri Strickland, I'm fine with that. I would just wanted to remind people that are engaged in that effort that it would be a big day for us, because we'd have to get from the STIR office over to, and I think that meeting probably will be virtual, so that, because we're not quite there with the community yet, but I just wanted, it's important work, and I wanted to make sure that we just knew of that conflict. And that's if I understand the date of the retreat right. This is the first time I've heard the retreat. Is July 8th what I heard, and is that correct? Okay, because that table meets every other month, and that's an important meeting that won't be moved for us. So, but I'm fine. I'll do it, and as long as other commissioners that are a part of that work are open to that, that's fine. It'll just be, a long 4 or 5 hours for us.
right, correct. We just picked to the 8th because that's our regular meeting day, and it seems to people at least have that set aside.
I do respect that. Thank you.
And along with all that, if everyone can submit to me, Ginger, your what you would like to see done in the retreat, or any kind of additions or something. I see the hands are up. Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Burnsworth. Commissioner Burnsworth has a virtual hand up. Commissioner Burnsworth, your mic is open.
We also have, we talked about reviewing some proposed changes to the bylaws at that meeting. And I think it's important that we get those done before the year starts so that they guide us for the entire duration of the year rather than waiting partway through.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Burnsworth. Commissioner Heseltine, I saw your virtual hand up. Did you still have something to say? Your mic is open.
Thank you. No, I was actually going to put it in the chat with Commissioner Stanley. Is the Pastor Leadership Roundtable going to, you think, will remain virtual for at least July?
Commissioner Stanley, your mic is open.
I'm thinking so, Commissioner Heseltine, and I will encourage that because of this conflict.
Thank you. That's what thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Heseltine and Commissioner Stanley. Okay, did anyone else have anything they would like to be addressed during the retreat?
The only thing I do want to say is that in the past we've had full days, and we've had numerous days, sometimes at least 2, maybe 3 days of retreats. But I think we can probably cover everything in 2, which would be, what's the next, the 2 weeks from that Thursday, if we need to go into the our second day,
That will be July 22nd.
second. And I just wanted to kind of put that out there, not that it's written in stone and we can decide that later, but it's, I don't want to, like if if we get team building going and then we're talking about bylaws and we're changing policies, we don't want to cut ourselves short. So can we tentatively plan for that day?
I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Amberman. Commissioner Amberman, your mic is open.
Yes, I just wanted to go back to the previous question you had, Dominique. And I think that the idea it's suggested for all of us to submit to Ginger and Sylvia items for the agenda, that would be good. For one, I think that we need to discuss, some items that I think would be of use to the rest of the commissioners. So, but I will directly forward that to the chair, vice chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Amberman.
Given the possibility that you might want to have a day 2, I suspect that Dominique will try to reserve a room for the 22nd. I also want to note, as you realize, y'alls are not the only boards and commissions and committees that are going to start wanting to reserve rooms in Building 19 for public meetings. So to the extent that you are a committee chair and you know you're going to have meetings coming up in the future, if you'll work with Dominique sooner rather than later, it'll increase the likelihood that she'll be able to find you a spot.
Yep. I'm already looking at places for meeting spots, just for the duration of the year. I'm also, Commissioner Burnsworth has given me some places to look into, so that's already on my list.
Thanks.
Great, that's right. I know we have a problem meeting as it is. So we'll have in the STIR office, and I get confused, but everything is lifted, so we don't have to have 6 feet apart, and we don't have to wear masks. If you want to, it's allowable. Is that correct, Rod?
The social distancing will go away at the end of the month. The wearing of the mask will be required only for persons who are not vaccinated. But regardless of whether you're vaccinated, if you want to wear a mask, you're certainly welcome to do so.
Okay, anyone have any questions about that?
Anyone, you raise your virtual hand if you have any questions. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Stevens, your mic is open.
Isn't there a state law about masks and when you can or cannot wear mask in public?
There is indeed, and as part of the governor's executive order, he administratively added an exception. You may wear a mask when it's, I don't recall the precise wording, but when it's medically prudent to do so. So you are absolutely right. There is a law against masks. It has its origins both in bank robbers and the KKK. But at any rate, with respect to a medical mask, I suspect that the governor's executive order that provides an exemption to the general prohibition will continue to go forward. And you know what? I'll look at the law. It's quite possible that the General Assembly has already codified, effective July 1, that exception. But regardless, I know from the very beginning, the governor's order has said, notwithstanding the general law against not wearing a mask in public, you can when you need to do so because you've got a medical issue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Heseltine. Commissioner Heseltine, your mic is open.
Yeah, thank you, Dominique. Sylvia, or Commissioner Strickland, July 8th, I mean, I always have it on my calendar that we're, when our HRC meetings, but having it on July 22nd, I know I had planned on vacation. And so, I mean, this is a little over 30 days notice if we do July 22nd. And since we're only allowed 2 personal days per year, it doesn't seem quite fair.
No, and I have a question, Sir Roderick. Does retreat count as a regular Human Rights Commission meeting, or is that a special meeting? We just happen to have it on that regular meeting
Yeah.
day. I don't like to make this difficult for you, but I am.
Y'all trying to find every loophole you can, and it's quite an admirable job you're doing there, but the law's pretty tight. Whether a meeting is any gathering of 3 or more members of the HRC, and whether that meeting is stylized as a retreat or as a regular monthly meeting or as a special meeting, the requirements are in play. As I mentioned, come July 1, the limit will increase for personal reasons from 2 times per year to 25% of the meetings, and y'all meet at least once a month. So that helps a little bit. But I don't want to get outside of my lane here, but one other option is the July meeting slot, which everybody already had, the August meeting slot that everyone already has on their calendar. If it's the desire of the commission to make the August meeting be part 2 of the retreat, that's an option you have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hassan. Did you have more to say?
Nope, thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hassan. Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Stanley. Commissioner Stanley, your mic is open.
Yeah, I feel like we left that one hanging, but okay. But I think this is a critical question for what I think is very valuable HRC input, and that's our youth commissioners. Commissioner Ellis and Mancall that have been huge contributors this year. I don't know the cycle for when we lose our youth. I think they're both, and help me, Commissioner Mancall, I think you're both seniors.
Yes, we both are.
If that's accurate. And I just think going into what I think is, we're trying to get ourselves really on track. And so what is the cycle around this retreat, and just making sure that we're fully inclusive of that, important young people voice. How does that work? Can someone explain it to me?
I actually asked Dominique this earlier. And the answer is.
Well, I looked at the city code, and Rod, you can correct me if this is changed or different. And I looked at the city code, and city code says, let me find exactly. Okay, the members of the commission shall be appointed by city council for a term of 3 years, provided, however, that 2 members shall be high school students whose terms shall expire upon their graduation from high school.
And Commissioner Hannah, graduate when?
I graduate next Friday.
Yeah, I don't know if my mic's still open. I just,
it is still open.
I wanted to lift, the respect, the great respect I've had for the student commissioners this year. So Hannah, I hope you hear us in that regard. And I know Commissioner Ellis Morgan's not here, right? But I just feel like if we're going to really be, integrating that youth voice as we're looking at a retreat that's all about visioning, it's somehow being able to figure out something around that. Maybe we have a catch-up retreat session for them. I don't know, because I think that they leave when they graduate high school, so that's May. Then, Rod, we have to go back to city council and get 2 more appointed. So I know that takes another month or 2, correct? Because they have to,
That's right. And I'm not exactly sure how we ended up with, do we have 2 seniors now? Is that right, Dominique?
Yes, we did.
That was not the way it's supposed to work out. What we should have is a junior who would be able to participate in the July retreat, but unfortunately, that's not the way these appointments worked out this time. I believe the clerk's office and our council liaisons will ensure that when the 2 new students are appointed, we have one who will be a junior and one who will be a senior, so we won't have to deal with this issue in the future.
Okay, thank you, Rod, for that clarity. And so for this year, we'll figure out a way to play catch up, because I think it's important that we get that youth voice very empowered to be a dynamic part of us like we did have this year. So thank you again to those 2 student commissioners.
Thank you.
Hannah, if you have any input you'd like to provide, if you were a member in the future, here's what you would recommend, something to be discussed at the retreat, or here's your perspective as a student. I know Teresa and the rest of the members would benefit from your perspective.
Certainly would. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley. Okay, I saw a virtual hand up by Commissioner Rivera. Did you have anything to say still? Your mic is open.
No, well, no, my hand went up a while ago, and
I
I
just-
don't see it there now. But
I just wanted to make sure I did see it. I just wanted to come back
Yeah.
to get to you and make sure
Thank
you
you.
didn't have anything to say.
Thank you. Oh, well, there was one thing that you've used this doodle poll before on setting up dates where there was a conflict or potential conflict. So I would consider that as an option.
Yeah, and I can definitely still use that. I think that's a tool that's useful whether we be in person or virtual. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Rivera. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Burnsworth. Commissioner Burnsworth, your mic is open.
Yes, I just wanted to follow up with something that Commissioner Stanley said. And I've been talking with our council liaison about a variety of things that have to do with the bylaws and as well. And he said currently there are no student applications in the talent pool. So if we want good students to get on the council or the commission as quickly as possible, we need to recruit and encourage some good students to submit their application to the talent pool.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Burnsworth. Chair Nair Strickland, I see your virtual hand is up.
Yes. Hannah has been with us all year, and I would love to hear her input, and I don't want to burden her with anything, but it would be our prerogative as having our retreat that if we wanted to invite a citizen who is no longer a commissioner to come to the meeting and express her views, that would be okay, right? Or to accept a paper, whichever you would like to do. Hannah.
Commissioner Miyako, your mic is open.
Hi, sorry, I was going to raise my hand earlier as well about the whole new people. So I wouldn't have known about this committee if it wasn't for my mom being friends with Ron Villanueva, or I think, I don't know, someone. But if it wasn't for my mom's connection, so I think you guys should try to like push it out to the different schools, like the different academies. I was in the law academy, and maybe try to push it out to the different medical academy, because I feel like those are the students you want on the committee and the students that would want to be on the committee as well.
All right, thank you. Oh, did you have more to say, Commissioner Miyako?
No, I feel like someone asked me a question though. I could be wrong.
Oh, Chair Nair Strickland would just ask if you had any input to give for the retreat.
The retreat, I might be out of town because it's the day after my birthday, so I don't know if I'll be able to make it, even if I could get an invitation. But that would be a good idea if I could make it, to do like a guest person.
That would be great. And if you are out of town, if you want to submit in writing what you want to say, we would love to hear from you.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Vanko. Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Gunn. Commissioner Gunn, your mic is open.
Yeah, less of a question. Well, maybe a bit of a question. But I just wanted to piggyback off of something that Hannah had said. I mean, if we're going to be targeting high schools and academies, she has said target places where they are. But additionally, I think was also critical is targeting those who will want to also be a part of this as well. And I think that's something that we should be able to look at, whether it be through different types of clubs or groups that are meeting. If there are any natural groups or organizations that will trend towards having persons in high school who are interested in being a part of the commission, those are some of the groups we should be looking at. I mean, I'm not sure if she has any suggestions. I mean, if she does, I would definitely love to hear it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Gunn. Commissioner Manco, did you have any other suggestions other than the Law Academy and the Medical Academy you were referring to? Commissioner Manco, you still with us?
Yes, sorry. My
It's
computer
okay.
keeps cutting in and out. What's up?
So, Commissioner Gunn just asked if you had any other suggested student groups that may be interested in being commissioners.
I just think the biggest thing is the academy, because a lot of the academies like mine, you need an internship your senior year to graduate. So I feel like that would be a really good group of people. Any of the, I think it's 8 to 11 academies in Virginia Beach. And that's a lot of kids, at least 100, I think, per school.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Manco, and thank you, Commissioner Gunn. Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Stanley. Commissioner Stanley, your mic is open.
Yes, I just really appreciate Commissioner Gunn's comments on this, and I think some more conversation with Dr. Parrott as our liaison, because sometimes, you know, those students are hidden, you know, and so, and I think Commissioner Manco's point is very well made. The Mayor's Youth Leadership in Action has some wonderful, you know, young people involved, but we want to make sure that we're also getting into the grassroots community. I also hope that we will give the same opportunity to Commissioner Ellis, Morgan Ellis, who was very active, very, very active this year with giving her input. Since, you know, Hannah, we really are going to miss your voices at the retreat. And the fact that you're both seniors this year was a mistake that we'll make sure we get that corrected for the next year, so we can make sure that we always have that critical youth voice, because we need it. And you all have contributed so much. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley. Commissioner Rivera, I saw your virtual hand was up. Did you still have something to say, or?
Well, Commissioner, well, it was mentioned that the Dr. Perot has been helpful in the past, and I was just wondering if that's one person that could be helpful again, as Commissioner Stanley had mentioned, basically. That's why I took my hand off.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Rivera. Okay, I just want to take a moment to recognize that Commissioner Taylor has joined the meeting. Commissioner Taylor?
How you doing?
Hi, Commissioner Taylor. How are you?
Fine. I apologize for being late. I double booked. We had a meeting with the mayor, so we was working on some other issues.
Okay, well, welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Regina has joined us too. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other virtual hands at this time, Chair Strickland.
To wrap up the retreat, and considering what Commissioner Hasseltine has said, do we want to do a doodle poll to see what day, if we needed a second day, that would be good for most everyone? And so we can reserve a room, or do you, I mean, I don't know about using August. We can use the August meeting as a second day. Does anyone have any strong feelings one way or the other?
I don't see any virtual hands. So, yeah, I can definitely do it. Oh, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Gunn. Oh, it went back down. Okay. Oh, it's back. Okay. Commissioner Gunn, your mic is open.
I was preemptively putting it down for you. No, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I think my initial feelings right now would be waiting until August, possibly. I understand some of the comments David had made earlier, and I kind of think of them in the same light of overextending commissioners who might have other commitments. I mean, it's not a picking on, but I'm highlighting Ron as an example. Coming in, having different stuff on your calendar. But I mean, having something already set in your calendar, like a Human Rights Commission meeting, is something that I would think is, since we already have that there, I kind of want to use it if we had to go through to the second day. But those are my initial thoughts right now. I mean, as long as we could, I mean, honestly, as long as I can plan ahead of time, I should be okay. But again, right now, my initial thoughts is as long as we have that day set in stone already, we should use it, or could use it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Gunn.
I don't have a problem. We did that. I believe we did that our last retreat that we went in. Of course, our last retreat, we weren't on time and it was in December, January, or January, February or something like that. But that's always our option. It's your commission. It's your call. Anybody want to make a suggestion or objection, or just let's just plan on August 12th as being the possible second part of our retreat, should we need it.
Okay.
Is that kind
Rod, I see your virtual hand is up.
I need to revise something that I said earlier, and I appreciate Regina letting me know. I said earlier that social distancing would end June 30th. Let me be more precise. I think it will end June 30th. We'll see what the governor does.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And Dominique, I hate to put that on you, but I guess, do we do parallel planning for the July meeting then? In
July and August?
July and August, because obviously the STIR office isn't going to give us 6 feet from each commissioner.
Yeah. I'm already, I guess you could say I'm already exploring as many options as possible, thinking about the social distancing and the size of the room that with a number of commissioners that the committee has, the commission has, and then the size of the space we would need. I've already been reaching out to bigger places such as Convention Center. One of the places that Commissioner Burnsworth suggested sound like they have the right spacing that we need. Plus, with spacing comes voices. Need to be able to hear each other, which means mics. So all that is in my head already, and I'm planning accordingly. So it looks like Convention Center is an option for all of our dates. So I just have to solidify that if social distancing is still an option for us. And then, like I said, the places that Commissioner Burnsworth offered are in place as well too. I just need to submit the form. So I'm already doing a tandem kind of thing with our space, because I know the demand for it, not to mention the social distance aspect.
Okay. I see hands up. Carla?
For the Commissioner Gunn, your mic is open.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to just ask. I know, Sylvia, you had mentioned possibly doing a doodle. Is this something that we have to decide now, or can we decide it over the next couple of days what we're doing? I mean, I'm not sure if people need time to decide or make a decision what they will be comfortable with one way or another, but I just wanted to chat.
I think we can decide now whether we want to do a doodle or we just want to reserve the August meeting. I don't know if we need to vote on that, or why don't we do?
No, that's what I was saying. I mean, if people need the time to think about whether they want to reserve the August meeting or not, or have a different date, I mean, should we do a doodle for that, or is that something we could decide upon now? I mean, I'm not sure how people feel about it one way or the other. I mean, if everyone's cool with it, I guess we could go ahead, but if people need time to think about it or want to consider it, I guess you can put out a doodle. I mean, I'm just thinking, I'm not sure where everyone's head is at or what they have on tap for any decision that need to be made. Would they have to go through, or they have to check a calendar or anything like that?
Thank you, Commissioner Gunn. I have a virtual hand by Commissioner Heseltine. Commissioner Heseltine, your mic is open.
Thank you, Dominique. I don't know about y'all, but this has gotten real all of a sudden for me. And I don't know that I like it. And I don't know if this is an appropriate time to ask this, because I mean, I understand I've got new clothes. I want to wear them, believe me. So I want to get out. But we all have gotten used to this virtual and been able to attend more meetings and be able to listen to others. And so I'm not sure if this is the right time to ask her, but what is is it a request with the governor? Is it a request with city council, the mayor? I do want to meet in person, but I also want to meet virtually if I can.
I think
I
there are
want it
two
all.
paths.
I want everything.
Make it happen, Rod.
Well, I think there are two pathways to it happening after July 1st. Pathway number one is the governor extends his order of emergency,
Stuff I
state
can't
of
really hear.
emergency.
Yeah.
Pathway number two is something we discussed at a prior meeting, and it's on the agenda that you want as part of your legislative agenda request, a request that the law with respect to virtual meetings be amended. I plan on drafting it with respect to advisory boards and commissions. And we would put that in the package. If council approves it, then we would ask members of the Virginia Beach local delegation to the General Assembly to be sponsors, and we would hope it would be adopted by the General Assembly next March. With an effective date, maybe we would get it emergency, which means it would be effective upon signature of the governor, or if it's the default, it would be effective July 1. But those are the two pathways.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Heseltine. Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Amberman. Commissioner Amberman, your mic is open.
Thank you for that, Rod. I just wanted to inform everybody tomorrow, the Virginia Latino Council, a podcast interview, and I was asked to interview the Deputy Secretary Tracy DeShahor, how do you think that question being placed under her radar would be helpful? And what would be the appropriate, is it possible you can recommend the appropriate way to word it so that I, either mention or not mention the Virginia Beach Human Rights Commission? Your advice.
I think it would probably be more effective if you used your own words, and it could be as simple as the HRC has been meeting virtually, and so have their committees, and it's been so helpful because it's increased member participation, and it's put less of a burden on the members who live all over the city. Is there anything the state could do to help us continue virtual meetings after the state of emergency ends? You don't need fancy lawyer talk. I think just say it like that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure also that it would be okay to mention, this issue being discussed by this body, the Human Rights Commission. They need to know. So it's an opportunity, and I thought this should be raised tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Amberman. I just want to take a moment to recognize that Commissioner Ellis has joined us. Hi, Commissioner Ellis.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late. I feel terrible.
Oh, that's
okay.
Right. Thank you for coming.
Of course.
All right. Okay, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Cubine. Commissioner Cubine, your mic is open.
I was just going to add that I did hear from the Director of Behavioral Health Department Division of the Department of Human Services for the city about about what we were doing in terms of asking to continue the virtual meetings. And she said that around the state, there's a lot of interest in it. So I would think maybe the CSB are interested. So there is some other support for this. So perhaps it will go through. Yeah. And I don't know whether they've been in touch with you, Rod, but it seemed as though there might be some need. I don't know who their liaison is with the city attorney, but we did mention that in our response to them.
Thank you.
It's the Human Services Department. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was asking what we were doing and how we were doing it and stating.
And in the past week, I've been working with staff for the CSB, for the Social Services Advisory Board, helping them adopt the remote participation policy that y'all just adopted about an hour ago. Yeah, it's on everybody's radar. It's not just the HRC who sees the value of continued virtual meetings.
Right, right.
To tag on to Beatrice's statement and Rod's and Carla, you have a lot of state connections. Anybody that has any connections with anyone, I think plead your case however way you want it. Carla's was so I almost teared up with her compassionate beg. So maybe you can. We'll send you there. Go to the governor and tell him please, especially committee meetings. Okay, back to the retreat. Why don't we do this? Why don't we wait a few days and we'll decide on whether we want to use the August meeting as our second retreat should we need it, which I think I'm kind of thinking we might at least part of it, or do a doodle, but unless someone has a strong opinion right now, because we have everybody here. So
Commissioner Amberman, I see your virtual hand is up. Your mic's open.
Yes, I just want to second the idea of having August as a second, retreat meeting. I always feel that there's always a lot more, discussion or topics that we bring up. So
We're losing you a little,
a good agenda that is clearly understood by everyone.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Amberman.
Yes, I just support, yes.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Amberman. Commissioner Cubine, I see your virtual hand is up. Did you have more to say, or? Okay.
I'm gonna take it down, sorry.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, I don't see any other virtual hands. Chair Strickland?
I think we're good with planning August as a second one. If no one objects to that, we get a lot done in the committee and we report back. If we need to take part of that meeting for some business, then we can. But it seems to me that everybody's and Rod has that on his calendar. So if we should need him, I know the first retreat you're going to be there to go over some legalities, correct?
Roles and responsibilities, a quick refresher on FOIA and conflicts, and your favorite topic, the attendance policy.
Yes, our favorite. Oh, okay, if there's no objections, why don't we just plan on August being our second, should we need it? Is that good for everybody? No doodles, no nothing, just August 2nd. Okie dokie.
Yeah, and taking social distancing into account, I'm gonna relook at. I think I'm gonna go back on and cancel our stir and look into the location that Commissioner Burnsworth has suggested to me, because he was able to reserve that for July and August.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have parallel booking. Is that what you're going to do?
Yes, yes, that's what I'm going to do. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Gunn. Commissioner Gunn, your mic is open.
This might be a stupid question, but do we need to vote on this, or is this something we need to vote on?
I think
Not required.
Okay, yeah, I don't see anyone objecting. And it's a reserved day, so I think it's good. We did last time. I think we're good. The legislative package, Rod mentioned that we still have time to make recommendations if there's anything that we have forgotten, but I think we're pretty good, aren't we?
Yes, I'd spoken with Tommy, I believe, and in response to that, or maybe it was Dominique, someone prompted me to contact our new the city manager's liaison to the General Assembly, who is Debbie Bryant. She took over Mr. Matthias's job. She worked with me in the city attorney's office for more than a decade. I know her well. I left her voicemail saying, hey, I know you're working on that memo that's going to come out in July that's going to give us the deadlines. Please make sure you CC me on it. So the moment I get it, Regina will get it too, and we'll let Dominique know and we'll get to work.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, moving right along, I had on here future presentations, but I think we can do that via email. We don't have to vote on anything. We'll just, I'll send them out, and if everyone agrees to plan those, we can do it by email. The awards committee, that's kind of an important one because that's parallel planning. Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Cubine. Commissioner Cubine, your mic is open.
Yes, before we get too far from the legislative items, I'd like to clarify who writes those requests. I've written the requests for the last 4 years. The first year, Kathy Henson helped with it. And then there was someone else saying that somebody else writes those, like the liaison. Is that correct? We write our request, right? We members of Human Rights Commission.
Yes, the members of the Human Rights Commission may draft it, or they can ask staff to draft it. But for this particular one, because you're the subject matter expert, I would much prefer that you do that draft for us. I do know that in the past, with the past legislative liaison, the text that you had drafted isn't necessarily the same text that ended up in the agenda package. I'm hoping we won't have that issue going forward. I think to the extent it is an issue, it would only be because Debbie is not able to find a council member who's willing to sponsor the item's inclusion in the city's package as written. But I'm hopeful we're going to have a better experience with Debbie. And if you will remind me, Tommy, when the HRC has voted on.
Oh, we're losing you, Rod.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I'll turn off my video and maybe that'll help. What I was saying was, Tommy, if you would do me the favor of reminding me the day that the HRC adopts its recommendations, I will call Debbie and say, Debbie, this was written by somebody who knows a whole lot about this subject matter. Can we keep the text as written? And I'll do my best.
I'd like to say that last year, the liaison used the one from the year before, and I tried to correct it, and I did correct it. And so Michael Berlucci was involved also. And so I'm not sure really what did go in, but he pulled the one out from the year before, although I thought we were following the schedule when things were due. So I'd like to, make sure we're on track for this year.
Good point, and I think we're going to be, without going into specifics about the prior office holder, I think Debbie's going to be a good partner for us.
Great.
Okay. All right, thank you, Commissioner Cubine.
Thank you.
Okay, is David on board for the awards committee, or Dominique, you know more than both of us.
Commissioner Kayla, I mean, I can definitely give you the update.
Yeah, only since I had to miss the last meeting.
So, and this kind of feeds into what to discuss at the retreat. The committee talked about the biggest thing that the committee talked about is that now that things are lifting, the mask mandate, social distancing, the state of emergency is expiring, that they are considering going to in-person ceremony this year, since that'll be in December. So they talked about doing kind of like a tandem planning where things are pretty much in place with the virtual ceremony with the communication office. They lined out a timeline for us already where taping wouldn't start until September, but also talked about doing in person, and that in previous years I know that in person planning usually started to July. So it's discussed during the retreat meeting whether or not to stay virtual or go back to the original in-person format. We would have time to go full blast into either the virtual or in-person depending on what is decided. And with that, the biggest piece of the in-person would be a location. I am already talking to Mocha right now. I'm hopeful. They did let me know that they are backlogged with weddings. They have a hold on December 10th, but the person who has a hold on that date has to confirm in a couple weeks, which will be, last time I talked to him was last week, so they would have to confirm by next week. So I'm going to follow up with them on that, but I'm also going to look into going back to convention center. It would be more pricey, but it's our only other option if MOCA is not available.
Either that or we should find out within a couple of weeks, we could move the date to
MOCA, right. MOCA, we could do it the day before, because we were shooting for the 10th, which is Human Rights Day. We could do it before. MOCA is open Monday through Wednesday that week. So, we do have other options, just a different day at MOCA.
Right, and I think we should really consider that because a convention center, we can't bring in our own caterer and they charge us, and MOCA doesn't charge us, and we can bring in whatever caterer we want. So that's just on the table. Anything else about the awards for right now?
Commissioner Amberman has her virtual hand up. Commissioner Amberman, your mic is open.
Yes, and I just wanted to go back to having the consideration of moving the date. In my opinion, as long as we hold the event on the week of the 10th, and I think for all the reasons that are favorable to our city and our citizens. Number one, MOCA offers the availability of their location, and it saves monetary financial resources for admission. So to be that, I feel that we should definitely look into considering either the day before or the day after the 10th, and I think that is pretty good.
Okay, sounds good. So what I'll do is like I said, I'll follow up with MOCA to see if the 10th is possible. If not, then I'll ask for another day within that week. And then I'll bring that to the commission during the retreat and you guys. And then depending on the state of emergency, what happens with it, what happens with any other kind of orders that may come through, the commission as a whole can make a decision whether to stay with virtual or go back to in-person.
Okay, great. Okay, anything else about the awards? If not, we'll move on to the COVID task force report.
Okay. I don't see any other virtual hands on the awards committee. So, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Cubine. Commissioner Cubine, your mic is open.
I'm not sure if I missed this, but at the last meeting, did we say that all the applicants were accepted?
Yes.
Have they been notified? They've been notified? I don't think they've been notified.
No, that's going out. That is going out.
Okay. The ones that were nominated were accepted.
Right. Yep, that was voted.
Okay, good. Thank you. I think you said that before. Excuse me. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cubine. Okay. Anyone else on the awards committee? All right. I don't see any other hands on the awards committee. So, Commissioner Amberman or Vice Chair Jenkins, either one of you want to go first on the COVID-19? Commissioner Amberman, okay.
Yes. Yes, thank you. I just wanted to inform everybody that due to the fact that we are changing and, the deadline for the governor's order, including not only COVID-related issues, but also regarding, rent relief for people that are suffering from losing their jobs and so forth. It's ending on at the end of the month, so things are changing. And before we used to have weekly meetings actually, and with the health equity working group, those have stopped. We had one today and it was canceled. Tomorrow, we are going to be informed when the next meeting is going to be. So I guess things are moving quickly, and because of the changes, it's kind of difficult to find out, more updated information. But I wanted to also share with you that the White House is holding a Latino a stakeholders briefing, and at today's meeting, we were informed that the White House is going to have a new video, and they're going to be again putting together a program and a video that can be shared with the community, encouraging them to get vaccinated. And they're going to give us a link, and I'll see that as soon as I get it. Also, expanding access for vaccines. There were a number of partnerships announcements so that they can increase hours for vaccines, childcare for people that want to get the vaccine. And the White House says that they have made thousands of pharmacies partners to offer extended hours on Fridays throughout the month of June so that people get vaccinated. And also 4 of the nation's largest child care providers will offer free child care and caregivers getting vaccinated or recovering for vaccination from now until the end of July 4th. And then let me see. I also wanted to inform you that the governor, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yes. The governor's office contacted me because he was going to be in Hampton Roads last month to make the signature of Senate Bill 1296 into a law, and they invited me to be one of the speakers because I guess of my work throughout the past year and a half regarding COVID vaccinations and services to the community. So I just wanted to tell you that that was signed into law. So now the Virginia established an emergency management equity working group to ensure that emergency management programs and plans provide support to at-risk individuals and populations disproportionately impacted by disasters. That was Senator Spruill, and it just gives us, comfort to know that it is going to be part of the law and that we don't have to go into the stress of having a lot of communities impacted negatively in the future if we have something in the law that assures that there's some emergency management for health issues within the Commonwealth. So just to make sure that we as a body keep contact with whatever that or those persons in the state are managing that, so that we can keep updated information when we have changes of government and so forth. That's basically all for me.
Thank you. I know Ginger, you and Mark did you share that last meeting, or is it for now?
Yes. Am I on?
Your mic is open, Vice Chair Jankot.
Yes, Mark and I shared that. We shared the details through email of what we were monitoring and the connections that were made. And Beatrice was in with that also. And she and Mark did meet with several people. So the only thing that I have to report on our statistics for the vaccination of 1 or more vaccines, the percentages are staying pretty consistent by race and ethnicity with 66%. This is Virginia Beach only, of our residents, of our Caucasian residents having received vaccine, at least 1 vaccine. 15% of the Black community and 9% of the Latino community and 7% of the Asian community receiving 1 or more vaccines. So those percentages are staying pretty much the same. So that's why I haven't sent you any reports. Nothing really notable to grab onto there.
Commissioner Amberman, you have more to add? I see your real hand up. Your mic is open.
Thank you. Yes, and I just wanted to add something that just I think is good news for the commissioners, and that is that throughout the year and a half, this body and the Latino community across the state has been actively involved, making sure that our community receive testing and vaccines and so forth. And I'm very pleased to let you know that the 9% vaccination rate within the Latino community is very pleasing to us. We are about 10% in some areas to 14% maximum in some areas. And as of now, the Latino community is the second largest vaccinated community in Virginia.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Amberman, and thank you, Vice Chair Jenkins.
Okay, Independent Observer Program. Commissioner Hasseltine, want to take that?
Sure. Commissioner Strickland and I discussed it as well as some other commissioners about for this year we plan to keep it virtual. I think this is what we had reported out, is that we're going to keep it virtual. And Dominique was good enough to create a link that is available to any commissioners as well as our other partners to give us feedback on what's going on. Do you have anything, Chair Neri Strickland?
That's about it. And also, since it's law enforcement, do you have anything with the Law Enforcement Oversight Committee?
Three things. One is I just wanted to follow up with everybody to let you know that I have checked with the jail, and it's still not open for any kind of visitation due to the COVID restrictions. And I never get this right, whether it's Officer McBrien or Lieutenant or Captain or whatever. But the VBPD is now opening for ride-alongs, and they would love to have us. And he was kind enough to say, I was trying to say, what days do you want us or what times? And he said it's really up to the commissioners. On a personal note, I just know from personal experience, don't do it on a weekend. They've got their hands full. Do it on a Wednesday, except for last Wednesday, but except for yesterday was not a great night. But be considerate, because remember, whenever you're riding along with them, they have an extra person to take care of, and so we need to be cognizant of that. But that is available if you'd like to do a ride along. Please contact me, and I'll contact him and get that set up. Also, the Virginia Beach Police Department Citizen Academy is having its first in-person class starting on Monday. I am doing the academy. I think there are still some openings. If there are any commissioners that would like to join the academy, I would be happy to try to make that happen. So that is all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hasseltine. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Stevens, your mic is open.
Yeah, the form that we're using to fill out when we go out, is that available to share to other people, or how can we get that to them? I was at the CAC meeting last night, and some people showed an interest of maybe doing that when they're out there. And I also make aware that there is scheduled a protest on the 19th of this month down at the oceanfront.
Yeah, that link, if you want to share it with your network, feel free to. It's open, it's active, so it's the same. It doesn't close or anything like that. And I do check it. Since you're going to be sharing it with outside networks, I'm going to start checking at the end of each week just to see if I get any feedback.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Stevens. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Amberman. Commissioner Amberman, your mic is open.
Yes, thank you. And I wanted to inform our colleagues that I was contacted by the state, community colleges board, and they have asked me to join a new advisory group. It is going to be regarding criminal justice, the criminal justice system. So as soon as we have the first meeting, I will keep everybody informed. I think that the advisory group is composed with judges and other people from the state. So I will have more details at the next meeting, and I'm sure to pass along any pertinent information for us.
Great.
Thank you, Commissioner Amberman.
We're moving along to, are there any other committee reports that I've missed? Otherwise, we'll go on to liaison reports. And if you'll just raise your hand if you have a liaison report.
Anyone with any more? Okay, I see a hand up for Commissioner Stanley. Commissioner Stanley, your mic is open.
Yeah, just the pastor leader community relations table, that work continues, and they've been engaged in making sure that we're having ongoing conversations, getting stakeholders involved in the citizen review panel and more. So that's continuing. Minutes are coming, and they meet again at our next meeting, 7 p.m. And I'll go ahead and lift them because I know we're in a hurry, but the Season for Nonviolence, it should also be one of these reports because that's ongoing activity that the Human Rights Commission has linked with. And once again, I'm the liaison for that. And we had, as I said, I'll get one more opportunity to just lift commissioners, now that Morgan Ellis is on, Commissioner Ellis and Commissioner Mainpaul, for the young people's engagement. The young people took the lead on this, knowing that mental health issues are a human rights issue critical to our community, and they put on and have created the first ever safe space where it's a butterfly garden down in the Vibe District with rocks that are going to continue to be painted and lift the courageous conversations that are normalizing mental health issues. I can't sing their praises enough. There were, 3 newspaper articles, and this was all young people led. So I want to make sure that we keep the Season for Nonviolence on there because that's just, really engaged youth work on at the Human Rights Commission. And once again, Commissioner Ellis, you weren't on, but we were singing your praises about the fact that we're losing you both because you're seniors, and we want to make sure we have good input from you on your engagement with this commission as, we move to put new student commissioners on to take your place. And then the other was the Hampton Roads Legislative Collaborative Table. That's also one of our partners that has led much of our work because it's 27 nonpartisan groups that engage in human rights issue legislation, and much of our agenda also interfaces with them. Commissioner Genko, Commissioner Amberman, Commissioner Cubine, many of us have used this group to help collect an agenda that we then bring before the commission, and if there's anything that intersects, we're able to work together. So the Legislative Collaborative Table should also be on there, and their consensus building meeting will be on June 17th. And then we'll bring back to this table, what may or may not pertain. It's just exciting to know that human rights are being addressed and passed at the state level on an annual basis. So I fit 3 reports into one. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley.
Thank you. Any other liaison reports?
Any other committee or liaison reports? I think I saw a real hand up by Chief Deputy Dean. Yes, your mic is open.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry I had to step away for a minute, but I had another quick meeting to attend to. I just wanted to remind everyone, as Commissioner Hazeltine said last night, summer is upon us. We had a busy night last night, but we're able to work through that nicely. We've increased our presence at the ocean front to the extent possible, given all of our manpower and shortage issues that we have going on with the police department. We're working very hard to make some progress on that, but progress is slow. We've seen a couple of the observer reports, and we want to encourage everyone and let you know that, remind you all that we welcome that feedback. It's important for us to see how well we're being seen and how effective we are down there at the critical times when we are needed the most. We've had a couple of meetings to reveal our first community contact information report. We did it for the last 2 quarters, I believe. We've met with Dr. Coleman, Dr. Williams, and the president of the local NAACP, and shared the outcomes of this first report with them. We are going to make it public in the next couple of weeks once we get it suitable to post on our website. And Chief Newdigate has a keen interest in coming before the HRC and presenting this report personally. So if we can get on a future agenda for him to come and give you some of the background and some of our findings with that community contact data, we would appreciate that consideration. I know the retreat is coming up. I don't know if that's a possibility or if it would be a regular meeting. If you all would decide and just let us know, that would be of interest to us. But look for it in the next couple of weeks. I think we'll put it out on our website coming up soon. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Dean. I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Gunn. Commissioner Gunn, your mic is open.
Yes, I had a question. Actually, this might be for the deputy chief, also probably for Carla as well. I was looking at the news earlier. I'm not sure if it was talked about earlier. I was in transit, but I'm thinking I saw something about body cameras being mandated. Was that something about that discussed today or released? I'm thinking I saw something on the news. Can someone confirm that for me one way or the other?
Deputy Chief Dean, your mic is open.
So we are 100% equipped with body cameras now in the police department. We still have a little bit of work to do on the automatic triggers that we have for activating the body cameras when a weapon is pulled out of the holster, out of its container, and we're still making our progress with that. But 100% of the police department, no matter where you are, even I have one. So we're deploying those as much as possible. That's been the case now for a couple of weeks for us. We haven't, that I'm aware of, we haven't made any media releases on that. So I don't know where the source of that information could have come from earlier.
I'm sorry, I was just looking at the news broadcast earlier about an hour ago. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what it was said. Obviously, it was on mute, but and there's a storm, so I couldn't really see everything that was going on. But I just also had another question. You were saying about automatic triggers if a weapon is drawn. Is that the only situation, or is what's going on? Is there
Oh, no.
is that not okay?
No, our officers are required to turn them on whenever they're having an eligible contact with a citizen. So if we're in uniform and conducting police business with anyone, the officers to turn them on manually by activating the camera with their finger. Normally, what we do is when we're on the way to a call for service or when we make a traffic stop, we just turn it on automatically and record the entire event. If we make an arrest, the arrest is supposed to be on video camera. We keep the video camera on throughout the whole arrest process, all the way to, to the disposition of the case, whether it be at the jail or the issuance of the summons. What I was mentioning about with the weapons being pulled is there is technology available that we have purchased and we are having it installed where there's a sensor in the holster for the firearm or a sensor in the holster for the taser, for example. So when one of those weapons are pulled, all the video cameras within the Bluetooth range that's in our system will turn on automatically. So even if I am 12 feet away from another officer and the other officer has occasion to pull a weapon, whether just to cover someone or be prepared for a potentially volatile encounter, all body cameras should be on anyway, but in the event that they're not, that automatically turns it on. And the last thing that we have done is there's a buffer, an automatic buffer on the body camera system. So the camera is always buffering. When we turn it on, it will go back 2 minutes and pick up the 2 minutes prior to us turning it on and capture that time as well. That's video only, not audio. So we have hit a a pretty good gear here with our body camera use and our abilities to get those things out and get them further deployed and more effectively deployed on the street.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to belabor this any further, but I do I feel a duty to ask, of course, what went on a couple of months ago. Now, if there in a circumstance that a body camera is not used and something unfortunate happens, what happens then?
Well, we're experiencing that right now. So our obligation is to conduct an investigation into the rule violation of not turning the body camera on. So that's a matter that should be addressed, internally to the police department as an internal investigation along the same lines of as we would investigate a citizen complaint or a complaint initiated by the police department. Usually that matter is not resolved or not addressed fully until the criminal investigation is going on. And as you know, in the matter that we are involved in right now, the criminal investigation has been deferred outside of our agency for the first time to the state police. So that's a matter that's yet to be addressed, but will be addressed prior to I think there's some contingency to allow the criminal investigation to proceed first. In fact, I don't think that is our policy. We allow the criminal investigation to run its course, and then any administrative investigation beyond that we take care of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Can I chime in there a little bit?
Yes,
Sure, Commissioner Taylor.
Yes, Commissioner Gunn, what you was looking at on television, I believe, when I left the mayor's office, I think 13 News was on there, and he was giving them an update on the body cameras. That's where that came from.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Taylor.
Carla has her hand up, and I think we best go to our guest after that.
Commissioner Heseltine, your mic is open.
Thank you. And thank you, Captain Dean. This is, I commend the VBPD of this. We'd heard that the automatic triggers and everything was going to be delayed, and I just really commend the fact that that we have them and they're on. One last thing, I just wanted to verify that the 100% cameras are on all officers regardless of rank. That previously there was a lieutenant, I think at Lynn Haven, that he didn't have to wear one because of his rank, but now my understanding is it's 100%. Can you confirm that?
Yes, ma'am. It's 100%. Even I have one. They're required when I'm wearing a uniform. I only wear the uniform when I have operational responsibilities. Now I'm in the detective business, so we have a bit more discretion and need to have more discretion when we use them as we interview victims and witnesses in sensitive situations like that. So I'm mostly an office guy now. So unless I'm videotaping, the office clerks around here, I don't have it on. I do want to clarify this. We have the technology available, but there's actual equipment problems with getting the sensors to function properly in our holsters. So we are awaiting delivery of all new holsters for our equipment. So once we have that, we'll be able to make the installations there. So they're not quite all functional yet, but we have everything we need except the holsters to get them deployed, and they should be here shortly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner Heseltine, and thank you, Deputy Chief Dean. Okay, back to you, Chair Nair Strickland.
Thank you. If no one has anything else, can we quickly go to our guest, have a citizen's remark by Mr. Strabino?
One moment, Chair Nair Strickland, we actually have a second citizen who has joined us. I just want to identify this person. I have a Terry Green on the call. Is that correct?
Hello?
Mr. Green?
Yeah.
Okay, hi. I just wanted to make sure I identified you. We are at the last part of our meeting when we do citizens remarks, so we will get to you after Mr. Strabino. So Mr. Strabino, your mic is open.
Greetings. Hi. My video can be turned on. I don't know if I can't seem to control that, but I can just roll with audio.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Commissioner. Really appreciate your time and your commitment to the city, everything that you do. Brother Terry, who's on the line, is part of my organization as well, and of efforts to bring together city workers. As you all may know, the fundamental right to collectively bargain is a human right recognized by the United Nations Human Rights Charter. And historically, Virginia has been one of only 3 southern states that has outright banned collective bargaining for public employees, including city employees such as sanitation workers, water department, sewer, fire, police, teachers, streets maintenance. And most recently, the General Assembly, as you all are aware, maybe effective May 1st, passed a bill overturning the ban for municipal workers. But it's enabling legislation that the city council must pass a resolution. Cities of Portsmouth and Alexandria have already done so. However, the city of Virginia Beach has not yet. We're asking your matter in this help in this matter. Collective bargaining is a matter of racial justice and economic justice. Denying collective bargaining means the largely African-American workforce does not have a voice in their working conditions, their wages and benefits. This was witnessed in the work stoppage last August by waste management workers, nearly 98% Black workers. Their fundamental humanity during a global pandemic was being taken for granted by the city not providing adequate safety measures nor passing hazard premium pay. If the city workers are put in harm's way, they have no structural mechanism to impact city policy and in fact keeping them in indentured servitude. In fact, the United Nations International Labor Organization came to the U.S. South and to listen to public hearings of public workers in 2006 and in 2007 ruled that denying collective bargaining was discriminatory and that the ban should be overturned and to be in line with fundamental human rights. According to this ruling, workers reported health and safety violations, unconscionable low wages, unreasonable, unsafe hours, extreme understaffing, forced overtime, favoritism, disrespect from supervisors, amongst other complaints that collective bargaining could address if workers had an institutional voice. The prohibition denies basic dignity associated with conditions of work, and perhaps the most disturbing, of the long-term ban is the prevalence of widespread racial and sex discrimination. Employees complain of unequal treatment of Black and Latinx workers and of women in hiring and promotion and discharges and wage rates. And African Americans are disproportionately underrepresented in the city management and professional positions. Not surprisingly, African Americans and women are overrepresented in the lowest paid and most dangerous jobs and have not been able to break through the city's glass ceiling. Public sector workers have reported these kind of harassment. We're currently organizing the Virginia Beach City Workers Union, UE Local 111, to include frontline essential public works, public utilities, parks and rec, human services, libraries workers. We petitioned the city council. A majority of blue collar workers signed a petition and we delivered it to city council on November 17th. You can see the front page Virginia Pilot article. There has still been no motion by the city council since this action on November 17th. We asked that the Human Rights Commission investigate this and pass a recommendation along to the city council that they pass a resolution in support of collective bargaining. The state law requires that the city do so before the city workers are allowed to collectively bargain directly with the city manager, which would have a great impact, again, on racial and economic justice. And we're definitely here to talk with you and we'll look forward to working with you on this campaign. There is large support. We feel fairly confident that we have a majority on city council. If we could talk more at a later date about particular people, if y'all were interested in pursuing that, but we would hope you'd investigate this and recommend that they do in fact pass a resolution to allow city workers to collectively bargain. And Terry Green, who's on the line, is a water department worker who has been a major leader in this campaign and can probably speak more as well to the conditions and why this is important for him. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. And all of this is quite new to us. I see do you have a question, Commissioner Hasseltine?
Oh, no. Okay. Any questions for Mr. Strabino? If not, Mr. Green, did you have anything to say?
Yes, Mr. Sarabino, I'm working with him diligently of getting the union, and majority of the employees want a union because we don't have a board. And when it comes to management, unfair laboring, and a board spirit at the bargaining table, like police, fire, and rescue. And we are essential employees is risking and our neck every day this pandemic. And being essential personnel, we have to go out there and risk our lives and our families because we could have brought the pandemic back home. But nothing was said and done about this, like pay and all. It's unfair that waste management at 10% when we didn't, because they walked off the job and we didn't, and personnel. If water fire can't do their job, if it wasn't for sanitary sewer, we would have an overflow. And it's essential that us as city employees have a union to sit in the collective bargaining stage. And y'all understand, and I appreciate y'all listening to me. As an employee, I've been with the city for 30 years, and I have seen unfair conditions. With a union, we can straighten it all out. And I thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Green.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Green. To both of you, we'll put this on our work plan agenda and give it some discussion. Is there anything else before we adjourn?
I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Stanley. Commissioner Stanley, your mic is open.
I just want to take a moment to thank the citizens that came forth with that information and remind them that we are an advisory body because we're city appointed, but I do believe that worker rights are human rights, and enabling legislation does give us an opportunity to weigh in. So want to really just appreciate your taking the time to educate us.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanley. Anyone else have anything to add?
No, and I wanted to, I was actually just found out yesterday about our students graduating and leaving us. We would like to invite you back, students, to one of our meetings when you can. And if you'll let us know when you can come, we would like to say, have a little few words of appreciation. But thank you very much. You've been really active. We've been really impressed, and you've made us realize how badly we need you. So thank you very much. Does anybody else have anything? Okay.
Oh, I have a virtual hand up by Commissioner Stanley. Commissioner Stanley, your mic is open.
No, it's from.
Oh, okay. It's from before. Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm not seeing any other virtual hands up at this time, Chair Strickland.
Okay. Thank you, guys. You guys have a great rest of the night, and thank you again. It's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon. Meeting adjourned.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Have a good weekend.
You too. All right, everybody, have a great weekend.